Hello everyone, welcome to another recapping series for my Pioneer T-858. Now let me talk a little bit about what's happened. Right, so I was pretty happy with this deck, and it works more or less fine, like records nice, plays nice. But then I'm installed its tapes into the Kamichi RX505, which was recapped with WIMA, and install it into the Pioneer and install it in a couple other decks. And on some tapes I mentioned that in the vocal range there is distortion, right? Kind of like it's not pleasant, it's not as clean as it should be, right? So my goal is like to excuse me to recap electrolytic capacitors to make sure that it will play at a maximum quality. Stay tuned, listen. And here I'm continue recapping. I also mentioned that I want to replace capacitors on the headphones amplifier board to make output nice as well. And I'm already installed it, but I didn't solder it yet, all those nice capacitors as you may see here. So everything become like really nice. I just didn't replace these large caps. I don't have spare with me, but I hope those are still more or less fine. And I didn't replace the parts on the digital board, but I replaced it fully audio board and headphones amplifier board. Moving on. Here guys, just to show you amount of capacitors replaced before I will trash them. So you may see, still looks nice visually, but my experience shows that many of them are not up to specs yet. And as soon as I replace, the sound becomes clearer. There are like couple decks which came, I don't want to recap, for example Iowa decks. They came with good sound, good capacitors, but again we don't know yet like what affects the sound on these decks. Like we just mentioned, like Iowa 9000 is low and high frequencies. It not records like the same well as other decks, and even if it plays well, right? So who knows, like maybe it's capacitors. I did long research, but it's time consuming and I'm already out of the budget with this deck. Alright, looking on. See you. Alright everyone, recapping is complete and deck is started and playing. So let's give more loudness. So it plays really nice. I will check parameters and assemble, and then we will tune up and check again, because like who knows what changed. So far sound is really good. It didn't start right away. Like I spent probably 15 minutes looking for solution. It was completely dark, only capstan motor was running, and there was a constant hiss noise, like white noise on the output. And what happened when I was desoldering capacitors, unfortunately in one place the drop of the hot solder like leaked and dropped on the board, and I haven't seen it, and it's shorted 5 volts circuit to the ground. And I spent some time looking into validating voltages. I see like plus minus 10 works. Like oops, there is no 5 volts, and started to look and found like, and it was accidental drop. Like nothing gets fried because we have the 7805 microchip, which protects from short circuit, and so everything was good. All right, now take another look. Like I did my best to replace as many capacitors as I could. Couple here, one left here, and these big guys, because I just don't have these values. And it's like more and more like frightening, because like I cannot buy the good quality capacitors. Like I'm struggling like for the Technics, I'm still waiting for capacitors. They coming across the globe. They just don't sell them anymore, don't manufacture anymore. And it's been 2 years now since Nichicon stopped manufacturing. Initially, they claimed that there will be replacement for fine gold and muse. Like fine gold was supposed to be replaced with MKT, maybe series, or WKT, something like that. And those are, whoops, not produced and not manufactured and not available and so on. Right? These were supposed to be like this blue color. This, as you may see, like audio cups as well, but that's the only cups I had with my value. And it's Nichicon, and this from this musical series, but I have what I have. All right, so really we are running out. I have probably about 5,000-6,000 capacitors left, and not all values. I bought in advance as the values which I know that are needed the most, right? But that's decks from end of 80s and 90s. But decks from early 80s, from 70s, guys, time is ticking. Like it's a ticking time bomb when we would not have these capacitors, and the only one which we left is solid polymer. And those, again, depends on the manufacturers. They don't just produce all values which you would need. Even like film capacitors is an issue, and electrolytes below 1 microfarad is an issue. I was not able to source 0.33, right, microfarad and 0.1. They just not available anymore. Even Nichicon was producing them like for 50 years or 60. Time is running out, unfortunately, for this old stuff, and everything which we will have only the new devices. I believe like 5-10 years, that's the maximum which left for these old devices. Then repair would be technically almost not possible. Even like year or 2 years ago, I was able to order capacitors for amplifiers, the large values like 15,000 microfarad with a good big cans. Now it's not the case. You get small teeny cans and that's it, in best case, or you don't have anything else. And I don't like this trend. I'm not sure how the future of manufacturing will go. Probably only big manufacturers will left. They will order in quantities and manufacturers will produce explicitly for them, exclusive. I don't know. We will see. It's not just about audio capacitors and so on. Next, you probably want me to ask, oh, why there is no WIMA? Why you install a Nichicon? Guys, answer is simple. This deck uses higher values like 10, 33 microfarads and so on. And those are just huge in the size, so I would not do it. All right, so for decks where I could do it, it was reasonable. Reasonable size, reasonable price. I can feed them. They work really, really well. So there is no doubt. I was swapping my decks just to recap the sound again, and they sounds really, really well. Again, this WIMA recap decks, they're great. I wish we could have at least 10 microfarad in the reasonable size, but it's just not possible. They are all large, all right? And imagine this 100 microfarads, okay, it's power supply, for example. But talking about even you see, my 10 microfarads, the smaller one, I don't have them anymore in bipolar. I have to install the bigger one. I still have the bigger one for bigger voltage, and so on and so on. We're running out of time. All right, it was a long video. I will keep you updated on how this deck sounds. I will listen it on the audio system, try to record and see if it will improve, because when I use its tapes in the recap decks, I hear distortion. Not every album, but on the vocals, I was so surprised that really it just make me want to recap this guy. Alright, thanks for being with me. See you in my next videos, and bye bye. Here guys, I tuned the deck. It plays the recording from Nakamichi Dragon. The biggest difference I mentioned, that level on the headphones. I was listening like that, and now I listen like that, and it's the same volume. And like I check it, the levels, everything fine. Like it's more juicy, more powerful. I don't know like what's causing this. It happens really from time to time. It's kind of synchronization between two CPUs. Just like there is one CPU which serves for buttons and display, another CPU which controls tape transport, relays like and modes on the board, and gets levels. And this like kind of looks to me like there is some issue between synchronization between these two, because it happens only on the second one. The deck works fine, only display blinks. Like I'm not sure what is this. It happens then like it might be a couple of days when it's not happens at all, and then it happens again. All right, overall nice deck.